I was driving down a lonely highway late at night when I saw a woman with a suitcase standing by the side of the road. Feeling sorry for her, I stopped. She thanked me profusely and climbed in. As we drove, she never spoke, just stared out the window. I tried to make small talk, but she wouldn't respond. I started to feel uneasy. When I finally dropped her off, she vanished before I could even get out of the car. I never saw her again, but I still get chills thinking about her silent presence in my car. The Whispering Doll. My grandmother gave me an antique porcelain doll. It was beautiful, but unsettling. At night, I'd hear whispers coming from the doll's room. I dismiss it as the wind, but the whispers grew louder. One night, woke up to see the doll sitting on my bed, its eyes glowing red. I screamed and threw it across the room. The whispers stopped, but I never felt safe in my own room again. The cold spot. I moved into a new apartment and immediately noticed a strange cold spot in the living room. No matter how much I heated the room, that spot remained icy cold. I started to feel a presence, a chilling sensation of being watched. Then, I started hearing footsteps, but there was no one there. I couldn't take it anymore and moved out, leaving all my belongings behind. The vanishing cat. My cat, Shadow, was a mischievous creature. One day, he disappeared. I searched everywhere, but couldn't find him. Days turned into weeks, and I feared the worst. Then, one night, I heard a scratching at the window. I opened it, and Shadow walked in, covered in mud and looking terrified. He never went outside again, and I always wondered where he had been. The phantom phone calls. I started receiving strange phone calls. The line would be dead, but I could hear faint whispers and breathing. I tried to trace the calls, but they always came from an untraceable number. The calls became more frequent. I could even hear muffled voices arguing in the background. I was terrified. I eventually had to change my phone number. The sentient mirror. I bought an antique mirror at a flea market. It was beautiful, but I soon noticed strange things happening around it. Objects would disappear and reappear in front of it. My reflection would sometimes look distorted, almost monstrous. Felt like I was being watched by something malevolent. I eventually sold the mirror, but the unsettling feeling lingered. The shadow figure. I lived alone in an old house. One night, woke up to see a shadowy figure standing at the foot of my bed. It was tall and thin. It seemed to be observing me. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The figure slowly faded away. I was left trembling with fear. I never saw it again, but I still feel its presence in the house. The voices in the walls. I moved into a new apartment and soon began hearing whispers coming from the walls. At first, I dismissed them as noises from the neighbors, but the whispers grew louder. I could even make out fragments of conversations. I felt like I was being watched and listened to. I couldn't take it anymore and moved out, leaving all my belongings behind. The feeling of being watched. I started to feel like I was being watched. I'd catch glimpses of movement out of the corner of my eye, but there was never anyone there. I'd hear footsteps when I was alone in the house. watched intensified, and I started to feel a constant sense of dread. I eventually moved away, hoping to escape the unseen presence. The touch. I was sleeping peacefully when I felt a cold hand touch my shoulder. I woke up with a start, but there was no one there. I tried to go back to sleep, but the feeling of being touched lingered. I felt a sense of dread, a feeling that something evil was in the room with me. I never slept soundly in that bed again.